Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to tie-dye. So the first things you're going to need is a white or light coloured garment that you want to dye. I've got some shorts and a couple of just plain t-shirts. It's important to wash these before you use them and make sure that you leave them damp. It's really important to use garments with a high cotton content because the cotton is the fibre that dyes. If it's high polyester, it might not dye at all, or it would be quite a pastel colour. Always cover your table or your work surface with plastic. The dye that I use is the Dylon cold water dye. I've chosen 3 colours and they're quite nice and bright. So obviously remember your colour wheel. Fuchsia and blue make purple, blue and yellow make green, and fuchsia and yellow make orange. With each sachet of dye, you're going to need some table salt. I've got 150 grams here. I've also got a measuring jug because we'll need to make up about probably 1 litre of dye. Also some rubber bands. So I get loads of these with my post. I don't put them in the bin because of environment and animal safety. And the other thing you'll need is maybe a few plastic packets to put your garment in after it's dyed. It needs to set for 6 to 8 hours before you rinse the dye out. So to start, we need to make sure these garments are washed and left damp. I've got my rubber gloves on and just read the instructions on the back of each dye pack. So I've just got some tap water here and I'm going to pour in 500 ml of the warm water into each of my containers. In here I've got 1 litre of warm water, so I'm going to add 2 portions of the salt because I need 500 ml each. Alright, then just add that to each of your dye containers. I actually might not use the whole thing because I think that would be a good quantity of dye for the garments that I'm using. I may be making a mistake here because it's got less salt in it, so I'm going to chance it and see what happens. We are ready to go. So the first technique I'm going to show you is the fish scale technique. I'm going to fold the t-shirt in half, just like that, then lay it down. I fold the sleeves in towards the body, so we're making a nice long rectangle. And then you just fold it in half again. And if you have a dressmaker's pencil, you can use that. If not, just a normal HB pencil would work. And what you're going to do is to draw like curved lines down the length of your t-shirt. So it kind of looks like a Christmas tree. I'm not sure if you can see that. I've got some pink spots already because that's from the powder of the dye. And then what we're going to do, along each of these lines, we're going to pinch the fabric and put an elastic band around each of those lines. So that's our shirt. It's kind of like a strange snake. I'm just going to exaggerate these, like pull out the ends a little bit more. We're going to start where the elastic bands are and work our way outwards. So I'm going to start with my blue and I'm going to pour the blue onto where the elastic bands are. Be really good actually if you had a small bottle with a thin nozzle. You could put your dye in there and it's much more accurate. Next I'm going to go with pink and I'm going to put the pink right next to where the blue is. I have actually seen a video where they've put their garment onto like a metal grid or like one of the shelving from your oven. I think I might do that because the whole plastic has been saturated in dye. So I think this will actually be a much better idea. I've got a metal grid with some little feet on it and I'm going to put my item on that so the dye drops through the grid. On the tips, I'm going to put the yellow. Once you've done that, you're going to turn the t-shirt over and do exactly the same process underneath. After they wash, they'll probably be a lot lighter. We're going to wrap it up in one of our plastic bags and leave it for 6 to 8 hours. We're going to move on to our next one, which is the classic swirl or spiral pattern. If you don't want your spiral exactly central in the t-shirt, you can do it slightly off center. So I'm just going to lay this flat and start twisting. And just pinch a piece of fabric and you start twisting it. We've got quite a nice, I'm going to try and pick it up and show you, a nice flat spiral there. If you use 3 rubber bands, you'll have kind of 6 pie shapes, and that's what I'm going to do because I've got 3 colors here. All right, and now we're ready to start dyeing again. So I'm going to definitely stick with my metal grid. And what I'm going to do is each opposite wedge, I'm going to do the same color. Okay. Looking good. So that's our top, and now we're going to turn it around and do exactly the same colors on the underside, underneath. And once again, we're going to put that in a plastic bag for 6 to 8 hours. The last item that I'm going to do, that I'm going to tie-dye, is a pair of shorts. So I have just spilt on the carpet as well, so my husband is probably going to freak. But anyway, let's continue. So with these, I'm going to try something new, and I'm going to try and make stripes. I'm going to use a different plastic bag because my table is so full of dye at the moment. So I'm going to lay my shorts down there, and then I'm going to pleat them diagonally and put 2 colors that way, then do it diagonally the other way. It may or may not work. Let's give it a go. And then once again, more elastic bands. I'm just going to put a few on to hold the pleat in place. On each alternate space here, I'm going to put a different colour, and then I'm going to unwrap them, and hopefully there's white underneath, which I'm going to fill with pink. And let's go for it. So, oh, I've just done the wrong one. Don't be like me, concentrate. I hope this works. Usually you don't take the elastic bands off until afterwards, but I'm going to take them off. Hopefully there's a bit of white underneath that I'm going to put some pink on with. This is what our shorts look like at the moment. I'm actually really tempted to leave them like this. They look pretty cool. So I don't know if adding the pink is going to ruin them. I might try it a bit with my finger. I can do splashes or streaks. I'm going to do streaks. All right, so that's how it's looking at the moment. That I'm now going to wrap up, put into a plastic bag and leave it to set for 6 to 8 hours. Our tie-dyed items have been resting for 6 hours, and they're now ready to unwrap, take the elastics off and rinse. Once the water runs clear, then just pop them in the washing machine on a normal wash. So I would advise though, after you've washed your tie-dyed items, don't do a white wash after, do a dark wash, just in case there's any dye left in the machine. This t-shirt here, the first one we did, had a higher polyester content, and you can maybe see that it's slightly more pastel. Whereas the second t-shirt we did had a higher cotton content and it's quite bright. Let's see. So this was meant to be our fish scale one, and it is actually really nice, but it's more a lot more subtle. Okay, so the next t-shirt we did, we were aiming for the classic swirl or the spiral. This one does look a lot brighter, so let's see what we've got. So there'll be the main colors as well as the secondary colors, and let's see what we've got here. Wow. So that is pretty cool, and I really quite like that the white is showing through as well, because that really defines the spiral. The third item that I dyed was the pair of shorts. This is what they look like at the moment. I'm quite happy with those. I like that the color's quite bold. So the color on this is really bold. So let's have a look. So like I said, this was just an old towel, and what have we got? That is pretty cool. I'm going to rinse these really well, pop them in the wash, and when they dried, I will show them to you again. See ya. Well, the tie-dye products that I dyed have all been rinsed, washed and dried. So I'll show you the results. This one was the fish scale, which most of it has actually washed out. I'm not too happy with this, but the reason it washed out is that this is 65% polyester. This one is obviously the traditional swirl, and I am happy with this. Again, I think the color would be more bold if I had have mixed more of the salt into the dye, but overall I'm really happy with this t-shirt. The shorts as well, I'm really pleased with. I think those are really cute. And then the last thing I did was a towel, which I'll probably just use as a craft towel. But this is 100% cotton, and as you can see, it is super bold, and I just love it. It's awesome. So I hope that you have a lot of success with your tie-dyes, and I'd love to see your results as well. So have fun. Bye.